They couldn't win, not by strength, not by numbers, and definitely not in open battle, because waiting across the sea was the most powerful naval force the world had ever seen. The fleet of hundreds of ships, experienced crews, an empire behind them. Against it, the Greeks had less, fewer ships, fewer men, no room for error. If they fought directly, they would be crushed, and everyone knew it. So the question was no longer how to win. It was whether survival was even possible. But then, one man saw something others didn't. A different kind of victory, not through force, but through control. Because if they couldn't defeat the empire at sea, they would force it to defeat itself. After the fall of Thermopylae, the path into Greece was open. The army advanced without hesitation, moving deeper into the land with overwhelming confidence. There was no longer a barrier strong enough to stop it. Cities were abandoned, civilians fled, and Athens, the heart of Greek resistance, was evacuated, then burned. Smoke rose into the sky as a message. Resistance had failed. At sea, the situation was even more dangerous. The Persian fleet moved along the coast, supporting the advance, maintaining supply lines, and controlling movement across the region. If Persia dominated the sea, the war would end quickly. Greek forces would be cut off. There would be no retreat, no regrouping, no second chance. Everything now depended on one thing: the sea. But while others saw defeat, saw a pattern, he understood something critical. The Persian fleet was powerful, but predictable. In open waters, it could expand, surround, and overwhelm any opponent. That was its strength, which meant that strength had to be removed. Themistocles didn't try to match Persian power. He chose to reshape the battlefield itself. Instead of fighting where Persia was strongest, he would force the battle into a place where that strength would become useless. A place where numbers could not spread, where coordination would break, where control, not size, would decide everything. That place was Salamis, and if he could force the Persian fleet into those waters, he wouldn't need a stronger navy. He would only need a better plan. The Strait of Salamis was narrow, not open like the sea, but confined. A space where movement was limited, where large numbers became difficult to manage, where ships could not easily turn, spread out, or reposition. For the Greeks, this changed everything. Their smaller fleet could stay organized. Their commanders could maintain control. Their ships could move with purpose. But for the Persians, this environment was a problem. A massive fleet required space. It required visibility, coordination, freedom to maneuver. Inside the strait, all of that disappeared. Ships would crowd together. Commands would struggle to travel. Formations would begin to break. And once that happened, power would turn into weakness. Themistocles didn't just choose Salamis. He designed the battlefield as a weapon. But there was one final problem. Persia would never willingly enter such a place. So Themistocles made his most dangerous move. He created a lie. A message was sent directly to, claiming that the Greek alliance was collapsing, that fear had taken over, that the fleet was preparing to retreat. It was exactly what Xerxes wanted to hear. Victory seemed close. All he had to do was strike quickly, and so, without hesitation, he ordered the fleet forward, into the narrow waters, into a battle he believed he would control. But in reality, he had already lost control the moment he entered the strait. At first, the Persian fleet advanced with confidence. Rows of ships moved forward in formation, filling the strait with force and presence. But as more ships entered, the space began to disappear. Movement slowed. Ships pressed closer together. Commands became harder to execute. Visibility dropped. And then, the Greek fleet struck, not with chaos, but with precision. They moved in controlled formations, targeting the disorganized Persian lines. Their ships rammed into enemy vessels, breaking formation after formation. The more the Persians tried to respond, the worse the situation became. Ships collided with each other, or shattered. Crews lost coordination. What had once been a unified force became a mass of confusion. Panic began to spread. Orders could not be followed. Movement could not be controlled. Inside the strait, the Persian fleet was no longer an advantage. It was a trap, and now, it was collapsing from within. When the battle ended, the outcome was undeniable. The Persian fleet had been broken, not slowly, but decisively. Control of the sea was gone, and without that control, the invasion could not continue. was forced to make a decision: continue the campaign with weakened support, or withdraw. He chose to withdraw, not because he lacked power, but because he had lost the ability to use it. Salamis was more than a victory. It was the moment the invasion lost its momentum. The moment strategy defeated strength. The moment an empire realized it could be outplayed. And now, everything changes, because the war is no longer about survival. It's about victory. And the next battle will decide the fate of the empire. Subscribe now, because you're about to see how Greece finishes what it started.